You're tuned in to the Smart Love Podcast, where real stories, real lessons, and real love meet. This is your space to grow, heal, and elevate every part of your life, from love and relationships to success and wealth. Smart Love is a blueprint to happiness and becoming your best, most irresistible self. It's all about that smart love. Get you some. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you never miss when we go live or drop more insightful conversations just like this. Hey, smart lovers. Happy 2026. Yes, it is a new year, a new day, and just new opportunity for more smart love. 2026. This is our year, y'all. I'm wishing smart love for every one of you out there. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for all the love. Thanks for growing with me. Thanks for just being a part of the community. I love you all. And happy 2026. All right. Well, today's episode is basically a recap of the lessons we learned about smart love in 2025. And really what I want to focus on is how do we grow and heal from where we were in 2025, okay? So I'm all about growth. That's what smart love is all about. So we're supposed to, of course, learn. We're not just having these discussions just for the sake of debate. There's no war, Black love on smart love. Like there's no war here. Like we're just all trying to grow and heal and just become better versions of ourselves. Okay. So that is the goal. And really the core message that I want you all to get out of this, especially for my good women out there. Okay. Feel like we got beat up on this past year, man. Like that. The men was beating up on us a little bit, but I just want, all the good women out there to know that despite what you hear in the media and the music and, on other podcasts or whatever, or just, out of the mouths of others, good women, you're not broken. Okay. You're not, just at a point where, there's no return, there's no fixing you, there's no, there's none of that. Okay. You're not broken, you're surviving. Okay. And you're thriving and you're doing the best that you can. And as long as you are on a healing journey, then you're headed towards greatness and everything that, your heart desires and, everything that God has intended for you. So please don't let, all the naysayers, bring you down or make you feel that you are less than you are, because you are still a good woman and good woman, and good women do exist in this world. Okay. 2026 is going to be more about healing. It's about discernment and choosing differently. Okay. Choosing smart love, making better decisions based on our own experiences, our own growth, lessons that we've learned, and everything that's brought us to this point. Okay. So I want to welcome everyone to Smart Love. This episode is a little different. Okay. So there's no interviews, there's no guests, there's just me. I'm reflecting on, what 2025 taught me about love and about healing and, some of the patterns that I kept seeing in my conversations with others and in my own experiences, and just reflecting on these things and just trying to pull out some lessons, because that's what smart love is all about. It's about learning and growing and, getting better at this thing called love. Okay. What really became clear to me in 2025 is that, good women are not broken. We're tired. We're tired of surviving on love, okay? We're tired of being misunderstood. We're tired of being told that, we need to shrink down. We need to shut our mouths. We need to, you know, change who we are at our core. We need to, settle in order to be chosen. And yeah, I just feel like that's, a false narrative that's put out there. And what tonight really is about, it's about clarity, it's about healing, and it's really about how we move forward differently. Okay. So I hope that you are on this journey with me. I hope that you are excited um, for, you know, just just growth and learning and better understanding. Okay. And let me just please ask you, wherever you're watching from, hopefully you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, please go to YouTube at Smart Love Inc. and please subscribe. Please help me grow my community. Please help get this message out here. There's not a lot of podcasts out there like Smart Love, where we're focusing on healing and growth and getting better. There's a lot of negative gender wars and things going on. So this is a safe space for people who are on that healing journey. Okay, so we're not we're not going to attack anyone. We're going to work on our stuff. We're going to get better. And so it really helps if you all, like I said, support, subscribe, share, all the great things. Okay. So, and just, just kind of just touch on like the purpose of this episode. Okay. So we're not gossiping. This, like I said, this is not a gender war. This is a teaching moment. Okay. This is about healing. It's about accountability, and it's about clarity. And for me personally, just taking a look back at 2025 and just, like Smart Love has definitely grown. We're definitely more visible. I get a lot of feedback from people saying that they love what we do here. But I did feel like the purpose of Smart Love kind of got diluted a little bit. We kind of like really started to focus a lot on like the male's perspective and healing the Black men. That's always, something that we want to do because we love our Black men, but not at the detriment of the woman, the good women out here. So I want to reposition Smart Love, and I want to start making this, less of just conversation, but like more of education. Like, what can we do to get better at these things? And instead of just like reacting to what's going on in the culture and media, I want to, do a better job of like leading women in the right direction. Okay. And instead of being like guest centered and, focused on the perspectives of my guests and, whatever they're promoting, I want to make this like more centered on healing our good women and our growth and our men too, men, that are out here that are looking, to be on their healing journey as well. We want to also, we want to work together. Okay. So again, subscribe if you're ready to, love differently in 2026, because that's what we on today. I don't know about y'all, but that's what I'm on. Okay. All right. So if you're watching, go ahead and drop me a hey in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you have any 2026 goals when it comes to love, drop those in the chat as well. Let's go. All right. So the first lesson on Smart Love that I want us to touch on is just how trauma has really shaped a lot of the things, experiences that women today are going through, and how, you know, we have to deal with our trauma to move forward. And I would say in 2025, one thing that I learned about trauma that really, like, to me, um, touched my heart and kind of, you know, really spoke to me was the fact that the way our childhood trauma, how we were parented, how we grew up, how those things show up in our relationships today. And some things that we lived through that we didn't even see as trauma, we just thought that was just like normal because that was just how we grew up. But I remember one of my guests that really spoke to me. She had a book that talked about, you know, how broken mothers create broken children, or broken mothers create wounded children. I believe that was the title of the book. And that really spoke to me because when I think about, you know, our childhood experiences, um, really, you know, our parents were just winging it. They were doing the best that they could. But if they had trauma that they did not heal through or deal with, that was definitely passed on um, generationally to us. Okay. And so then we relive that trauma. And if we don't break those curses, we're going to pass that down to our children. Okay. If you think about it, you know, during our childhood, you know, children are conditioned to, um, you know, whatever their parents taught them. So, you know, if the boys were taught, you know, not to cry, you know, stand up, be a man, keep your feelings inside, then of course that's going to be passed on, and that's going to shape their character. You know, if women are, you know, taught to, you know, shut your mouth, and, you know, you need to follow a man, and you need to, or even the opposite, don't depend on a man, you get out here and you get it for yourself, then that's what you see showing up in these adults today. So it's definitely important for us to look back on our childhoods and like understand, like, let's identify what those traumas were. Let's identify areas that need to be healed. The first thing to do, of course, is to acknowledge it. So acknowledging those areas that need to be healed in order for you to begin to work on them. Okay. You know, trauma teaches women to just, you know, endure pain. Like, they, you know, think that's just part of, you know, love, you know, pain comes with love. You know, not to really like use their discernment. And so, you know, oftentimes, you know, survival mode, like that looks like independence. Like, you know, we're out here, we're like, okay, this is what I got to do. Like, I got to make sure, you know, this things are going to happen. And then you just get into a cycle of, I don't need this. I don't need to work on this. I'm too busy. I got this to do. I'm in survival mode. And so you don't work on your healing. So definitely, you know, trauma is going to continue to show up if you don't address it. Okay. Me personally, when I think about my own trauma and healing that I had to do just to get to the place that I am now, I realized that, you know, there was a lot of things in my adolescence that I didn't deal with. So, like, I'm going to use, for example, like just being, you know, a dark skinned woman, right? And not that you know, I was teased or anything like that, but it was always like, you know, you're not considered as beautiful or as pretty or, you know, as, you know, light skinned women. Right. And so my family was like half and half. Like, we have like half light skin, half dark skin. And so I didn't realize that like that bothered me a little bit, but I do feel like the way it's showing up now, it's like I kind of like feed off of, like, you know, positive like attention from men, even if it's just like, you know, overly like sexual. I'm overly sexualized. Like, I look at that like, oh, it's good attention. Oh, he thinks I'm pretty. Oh, he thinks I'm beautiful. Oh, you know, but it's like that goes back to like my childhood of not thinking that I was and not hearing it enough. like, of course, like my parents instilled it in me. My dad made me feel like I was, the greatest human being in the world. But like, just, I didn't get a lot of attention, just growing up, like, had my awkward stages. And so when I did start to get attention from men, oh, ooh, yeah, I love that. I thrived on that. And the way that it's hurting me now today is that now I feel like men like get caught up in the physical, and like I feel like I'm much more than that. So, that's something that like I'm healing through, like understanding, what type of attention is good attention, and, and making sure that I'm confident within myself and that I don't need a man to tell me how beautiful I am. So things like that. But, I definitely think that, it's important as women that we, deal with our trauma. I think it's important that we make sure that we understand that, each relationship we get into, that we're bringing in our baggage. Okay. And so try to work on that when, especially in the times when you're not in a relationship. That's the best time to try to heal those things. That's the best time to try to work on, dealing with some past issues. It could be even just the last relationship. Sometimes you got to take time away between that relationship and the next to work on some healing. Okay. And also just, try to understand that just because something is familiar and, you've lived through it, that doesn't mean that that is right. Okay. So sometimes you have to correct something. Sometimes you've been through some things and it's like, okay, you start to think that it's normal to be in a toxic relationship. It's normal for a man to, control you. And those things are not normal. Okay. But because it's familiar, just because like maybe you saw it in your childhood, or maybe you've experienced it in past relationships, you think that that is normal. And so that's, something I feel is very important to understand, is that those traumatic experiences, if you don't identify them, you will start to think that they are normal, and you will not take that discernment into account when you face those same traumas again. So important to understand that. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to femininity. Okay. Femininity, femininity, success, and the myth of too much. Okay. All right. So wherever you're watching from, I want you to go ahead and drop me a comment. Let me know where you're tapping in from. And we're just getting started. So I'm trying to see who's here. Hey. All right. Okay. So yes. So now let's get into this whole notion that women today are too masculine. Okay. They are, these independent women, they don't need a man. They're out here, being successful in their careers. And the last thing they need is a man. And so these women, they don't deserve love, That's what they say. They're like, oh, this independent, she's so independent that she can't be led by a man. And she's, she's hard. She's not soft. And, and she doesn't know how to be feminine. And let's touch on that a little bit. So, first of all, I feel that these women that they're talking about, the problem isn't that they're too masculine. Okay, it's that, as I just said in the last lesson, is that they're in survival mode. Okay, and it could have, again, come from childhood. They have been conditioned that, you know what, I have to get out here and get it, because a man is not going to come in and, sweep me off my feet and just take care of everything. Okay. Prince Charming is not coming. Okay. That's what our mothers taught us. That's what society has taught us. So we're out here just trying to get it. Okay. We want to make sure that we're taken care of. Our families are taken care of. We have a lot of people depending on us. Okay. We have our children. We have our parents. We have, if we're successful, we typically have, other family members that we're helping. And so we have a lot of people depending on us. And so what you see it as us being masculine or being too masculine or being too independent. You see us surviving. We're just out here just trying to do our best to take care of everybody. Okay, that's actually part of our nurturing spirit. We're just trying to take care of everybody. Okay, and to the detriment of ourselves, honestly. But I can tell you, being one of these, independent, women out here, survivor, like out here trying to do it. Like I would love the opportunity to take some of this load off and even share it with a partner. Okay. Not necessarily like, oh, I just need a man to come in and just take all my burdens away. No, but if I if I had a man that provided security, provision, that allowed me a safe space to be vulnerable, that cared for me and my emotions, and just really allowed me to like focus on being that loving, warm, nurturing, um, you know, person that God created me to be, then I can relax in that feminine space. And I can tell you, and in men that I've dated could even tell you this, when I do feel like I'm in that secure space, oh baby, I am the most feminine woman you will ever meet. Okay. I know how to um turn that off. Okay. So even when I'm at work and I got to be, I'm leading the team and I'm making decisions and all of that. I can turn that off when I'm in a safe space with my partner. Okay. And so I just want women, number one, to understand that there's nothing wrong with the way that you have to operate in your survival mode, okay? Because that's what you got to do. But when you do get in a safe space with a man and you're able to be vulnerable and he has showed you that he will provide security and protection for you, then it's okay to relax and take off some of those burdens and get out of survival mode. That's the goal. Like no one wants to stay in survival mode, right? The goal is to be able to move out of that into something more gentle. Okay. And just a message for the men out there, femininity cannot exist in chaos. Like you can't say that you want a woman to bring you peace when you're stirring the pot. Okay. You're creating chaos by, not making her feel protected, not making her feel secure, by, not taking care of the things that you're supposed to take care of as a man, or not being a man. Okay. Not, just dealing with your shit, dealing with your healing and bringing your trauma and throwing it out, what I'm saying, on us to try to pick up the pieces and clean up like if we are in a relationship with you and we still have to be the leader, we still got to provide, and there's no protection, baby, you don't get that soft feminine, one nurturing woman 100% of the time, because we're still in survival mode. And we got to be ready just in case, what I'm saying, this don't work out. Just in case you don't do what you said you were going to do. So we're kind of still in that mode, and it's really going to be up to you to bring that out of us by creating a safe space. That's all we ask. Something that, I definitely want to touch on is that, women, I just want to just put this out here. Success is not going to protect you from unhealthy relationships. Okay. It's not. It's not. If anything, you might be a target. The more success you have, the more of the target you might be to, these unhealthy men who just want to take advantage of you. So don't think that, just, the more success you have, the easier it's going to be. No, it's everyone is going to have to work through their stuff. And just know that, using your discernment, but when you get into a safe space, it's okay to relax and try to build a healthy relationship with the partner. And just not to beat a dead horse, but as women, when we feel safe, we just automatically soften. We just want to fold up and just cuddle up and just be, you know, in that safety. And so it's hard when you don't have that, and then it's hard definitely when you're looking. Where either you're in a relationship, or you're looking to get into a relationship, and you just don't know if you can trust that person with your vulnerability. And so what I would say is, like, you definitely you know keep your guard, your boundaries up, and you use your discernment, you ask the right questions, you pay attention to actions, and you do a better job at vetting a person before you let that guard down. But eventually you should be able to start to let that down over time, as this person proves to be who they say they are. Okay. And so this is something that I want y'all to take into 2026. Okay. If he cannot lead with safety, I'm sorry, if he cannot lead with emotional safety, consistency, and integrity, he is not leading, and he does not get that soft, feminine version of you. Okay. That's reserved for men that are going to provide that safety, that security, and they're going to lead. Period. Clock it. Okay. Okay, so this is another point I wanted to make. So femininity isn't about shrinking. It's not about being submissive. It's not about, dimming your light or anything like that. No, 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 no. It's really about being grounded enough, have your feet on solid ground enough to to stop being in survival mode, stop over explaining, stop over giving, stop doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it allows you to be, like I said, on a solid foundation. And this, of course, like I said, thrives in safety. And then this is something that I want to put out there, because men are always talking about how women are so masculine. Women don't become masculine, okay? They become protective, okay? We become mama bear. And like I said, we have a lot of people depending on us. So we're out here in survival mode trying to do the best we can. And so, what I want to say to you, good women out there, the way you're showing up, and men are calling you too masculine. You're not too masculine. You're unprotected. That's what you tell them next time. No, I'm not too masculine. I'm not protected. So I'm in survival mode. Okay. And it's their job to take us out of that, get and put us into a vulnerable place. Okay. And one thing I want to touch on before we move on from the trauma and femininity is that, healing is not optional for either party. Okay. I don't think any of us can just get to a point to where we say, oh, I'm healed. It's a process. It's a journey. Okay. Um, but when you think about unhealed trauma, like it just doesn't hurt you, but it kind of shapes who you choose. It chooses what you'll tolerate. And so if you have again like this past unhealed trauma, you you often choose people who are a reflection of that. And you don't even know it. But what you will recognize as you start to heal is you start to choose differently. Okay. You start to see things that were part of the unhealed part of you disappearing. And then then you're no longer tolerant of certain things in relationships. And so that's why healing is so important. Got to take that time to heal. Okay, let's see. What's the next lesson I want to touch on? I got so many nails. I got so many nails. Like we touched on a lot in 2026. Okay, so this is something I really want to touch on. Okay, so we hear this a lot from men. Okay, especially when they're speaking about women over 40. Okay, they're like, oh man, women over 40, like you all, like it's slim pickings at this age. Like, you know, well, because y'all so successful, y'all think, y'all deserve a top tier man, but you don't deserve a top tier man. And, y'all are too stuck in your ways. Like, oh, they have so many complaints about us, right? And they try to make us feel like um, getting older, like there's an expiration date on how good of a woman we are, which like that is so not true. And like how is it that okay, men, so y'all feel like y'all just get better with age? And so okay, so y'all, yeah, so y'all just get better with age and y'all not stuck in y'all ways, y'all just open and y'all thriving and y'all growing. Is that what's happening? And but the women not? Absolutely not. That's a false myth. Um, I don't feel like dating gets harder over 40, it gets clearer. Okay. You have clearer expectations, especially if you've been doing the work up until now. Okay. The last thing you want to do is go backwards. You've done the work on your heal. You've been on your healing journey. You're getting better. You're growing. The last thing you want to do is deal with somebody who is still, unclear about you, doesn't have a vision, is not a leader, is not a protector, is not a provider. That's the last thing you want to do. Okay. And so as you grow and you get older, um, your dating pool isn't going to shrink. It's really more of your tolerance. It's like what you deal with. Okay. Especially like my generation, like I feel like we look better than the generation behind us and the generation before us. Okay. So we're growing, we're getting better, we're getting, we're aging like fine wine. And I feel like men are really intimidated by the clarity of this woman. Okay. Her maturity, her wisdom, and the fact that she's just not going to take your shit. Like, absolutely not. Like I said, if we've done all the work up until now, absolutely not. We're not going to start settling for potential. We're not going to start settling for, nowadays men want you to be open to these open relationships. We're not settling for cheating. Like we're not settling. So I think that's the big difference. And so if by that you mean our dating pool is shrinking, okay, that's fine because the ones that we're weeding out aren't the ones we want anyway. So if my clarity, my wisdom, and my age weed you out because you no longer qualify, like my discernment, like I'm no longer going to settle and deal with something that's not in alignment, Hey, you're not for me, and that's fine. But there's plenty of men that are, okay? And so you can just get out the way and you can go deal with, what I'm saying, the women that are unhealed and that's willing to deal with your bullshit because we're not one of them, okay? Older women are being labeled difficult, being labeled, bitter. And I would say, having discernment is not bitterness, okay? Saying I'm not going to allow you to treat me any type of way is not bitterness. Saying that I want a man to myself, I don't want to share him, it like that. Standards, having boundaries, like that has nothing to do with age. That has to do with wisdom. That has to do with clarity. Okay. So yeah, if men today, if y'all don't want to date a wise woman, okay, I guess you can deal with what you deal with dealing with younger women, right? These women who are, they don't have the wisdom, they don't have the experience, they have not done the healing, they have not done the work, so they will put up with your shit, okay? They'll settle for these transactional relationships. They just want some money, they just trying to survive, okay? They in survival mode and they're not healed yet either. So if that's what you want and that's what you want to deal with at your big age, go ahead. But the men that want women who can be strong partners and friends and lifelong partners to grow with, being wise and more mature to me is an asset. Thank you very much. Okay. So women out there, I just want you to just know, you're not past your prime. Okay. What you are past is the nonsense. And really, peace should be your priority. And so, again, men, you often ask for peace, but you all need to be bringing peace as well. Okay. You can't get peace when you causing war. So there's a lot of these, men out here causing war. Like, no, let's not do that. Let you want peace, we want peace. Let's work together on that. Oh, one thing that I did want to touch on, and it's something that came up in one of the episodes of Smart Love, is that, a lot of women, over 40, of course, like we on this healing journey, we have a lot of knowledge of self. We have boundaries and we have expectations. Okay. And so not every man is prepared for a woman that has expectations and boundaries. Like that's like too much. Now we asking for too much. Oh, you got boundaries. Wait a minute. Because again, they want to try to make us feel like, oh, like, hey, like you're past the expiration date. Like you better just be happy with, just having you just better be happy just with having a man, period. So let alone, you know who you are. You know that you're a prize. Oh, you want me to pursue you? Oh, they're not having it. They're not having it. Okay. They prefer a younger woman because guess what? It's going to require less work. They can buy their way to getting that piece that they say they want. You know what I'm saying? They just, hey, let me just give her a few dollars and she shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? But a woman who has her own, a woman who has knowledge of self, a woman who is on a healing journey, a woman who has boundaries and expectations, baby, you got to show up. You got to show up. You have to show up. Like that's it. So if you all the way up until this big age, you have not done your work, you have not done your self-reflection, you don't have knowledge of self, you don't have any boundaries, and you just out here in the world, brother, like we're not a match. We're not a match. It ain't got nothing to do with age. It got to do with maturity. You know what I'm saying? So women over 40, like I'm telling you, don't let these men trick you into thinking that you're less than what you are. Okay. You know who you are. And remember that. And if your age scares him, it's because he knows he cannot play with you. period. And that's all I got to say about the age thing. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna let y'all chill on that because I just feel like, the narrative is that these women over 40 that, for some reason that now we're not the cream of the crop. No, we still the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? Especially that's good women who got good hearts, good character. We have done the work on ourselves. We're successful. We have we're loyal and like, why wouldn't you want a woman with expectations and boundaries? Like, I don't understand. Because y'all just want to be out here thugging it out, huh? All right. So now let's get into the next section, smart love lessons on cheating, delusion, and emotional avoidance. I just said a whole word right there. Okay. Let's start with the cheating. Okay. So, reflecting on some past episodes of Smart Love. So, I had one episode where we talked about, I had a guest on my show who talked about how he felt that, women are in their whole phase. The women out here cheating. They cheating better than the men. Okay. Women got good men and they out here cheating on them. Okay. I had even put up a post that, oh, it got the men hot. And I did it just to stir the pot, just to see, but oh my gosh, they were so mad. Their reaction was so funny to me. So the post said, if you cheat on me, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna cheat right back. And I know that is toxic behavior. Okay. That is not the thing to do. If someone cheats on you, no, the right thing to do isn't to cheat on them back. But when I tell you the men were hot, because guess what? They can dish it, but they can't take it. Okay. A man cannot handle being cheated on. Okay. And this whole era right now where men are trying to be open, have these open relationships, baby, just so you know, it's only open on one side. Don't think your side is open too. Okay. It's only open on one side. And but the men, like they are really like speaking out. They feel like, oh my God, the women are doing it so bad. They're just cheating on us, and all these women out here, they just using us, and they just this and this and that. Okay, so let's dive into this whole cheat back culture. Okay, and before I do that, let me shout out everybody that's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, please go ahead and love, like the post, and just send me a hey, and so I know where you're watching from. I really appreciate you joining in, and we just diving into the cheating era. Whew. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, so first thing I want to say about cheating is that I don't believe in the tit for tat. Okay, I definitely don't believe in the tit for tat. Um, Honestly, it's truth time. Like there was a point in my own story where I was in a relationship and I was, being cheated on repeatedly. And, I had a tough decision to make. Well, it was tough for me. I was like, okay, either I'm going to leave or I'm going to cheat. And for some reason, at that point, I wasn't ready to leave. Not at that point. I did eventually, but I wasn't ready to leave. I wasn't in a position to leave, and I thought that this would solve a problem, but it didn't. It didn't. It wasn't worth it. And I learned that lesson the hard way. I did, really, hurt my partner. It didn't stop anything though. Like maybe it chilled out the cheating on his side for a little while, but it didn't do anything for me emotionally. It didn't do anything for the relationship. If anything, it just made him start watching me like crazy. But yeah, it wasn't a good decision. But when it comes to cheating, and this is for, both the men and the women, I feel like, cheating is It's, it's a symptom of the culture that we live in. It's a sign of a bigger problem, right? Um, and I definitely don't agree with, revenge cheating, because that's not going to solve the problem. Okay. So if the problem is that, there's miscommunication in the relationship, there's distrust, there's, lack of sexual chemistry, like there's so many um, issues or symptoms that could, that cause cheating. But it's like, if you don't deal with the root cause of the problem, the cheating isn't going to fix it. Okay. If you have intimacy relationships, I'm sorry, intimacy problems within your relationship, how does going out to a third party resolve that? It doesn't. Okay. If you don't trust your partner, how does you going out cheating resolve that? It doesn't. If anything, now you're creating an issue to where now you're not, it's like now they're not the problem. You are too. So it's like, how can you even fix whatever the issue was initially? Because now you're both the problem. So it's definitely not a solution. Okay. And really, that revenge behavior, that's just unprocessed grief. Okay. You're hurt. You're hurt by, what has happened, your partner cheating on you. And instead of dealing with that hurt, instead of working through it, instead of facing it head on, you are, you're choosing to go outside, and I don't know, maybe you're opening up to someone else about these issues, and this person is giving you some comfort, and but it's like it's still not giving you what you ultimately wanted, which was loyalty and faithfulness from your partner. So that's what you need to work on. Not like, so let's heal that, let's get over that, let's fix that. I mean, it can be fixed if it can be fixed. And if it can't, then you move on, you grieve that relationship, and you start over. But yeah, let's talk about, like, why do women cheat back? Okay. Why is that even a thing? Or like, why do women cheat in general? Because I hear a lot of men say that, like, that a lot of married women are cheating. Okay. I don't think that, well, I know that it's not the same reason that men cheat. Men cheat like without any emotion most of the time. Um, sometimes it's just opportunity. Sometimes it's just, it could be something missing that this person is giving them. Sometimes it's just physical thing. But like often for women, it's emotional. Okay. And so for us to be able to like take a step, out of our marriage and go to, hey, PJ, watching on YouTube. Thank you for joining. So for women to step out of their marriage and to open up to another man, there's something emotional happening there. Okay. This man is, and often, hey, I'm gonna just say this. I feel like men sometimes manipulate situations. So like they might hear, women complain about some things that are going on in her marriage or her relationship, and they somehow have the solution, or they're the listening ear, or they provide that emotional protection that she really ultimately wanted from her partner that she's not getting. So that's a reason why women cheat. They feel they're not in a safe, secure, protected relationship. Their man is lying, they're hiding things, they're not giving them something that they need emotionally. That's often why women cheat. Even when they're cheating to get back, that's an emotional thing, right? Because like I said, there's some grief there's some bitterness that they're not dealing with, so they feel like, oh, I can just go cheat and I'll somehow fix that emotional tie that I have with my person. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. And then there's just, there's something that is, emotionally immature about cheating. Okay. When you think about, loyalty and, um, the like taking care of each other's emotional safety, cheating like just dissipates that. And so in order for you to do that, like you're making a conscious decision that like you're changing your relationship forever. So don't recommend the whole cheat back culture. Um, but yeah, just to get back into, like I said, a lot of men are saying that like we're not just men, but like just the culture period, like we're in this cheating era. Okay. And really what it is emotional accountability crisis. Okay. We have folks who are dealing with things that emotionally that they're not taking accountability for. And the result of it is the cheating. Take accountability for your stuff. Work on healing whatever it is that would even cause you to think that that would be okay to step out of your relationship. Communicate, seek some help. Like if you're in a relationship, oftentimes, you're not focusing on your own self healing and things like that. It's all about the relationship. But sometimes you need to take a step back and do some self care and fix what's wrong within you. And so you can do that within a relationship as well. And that's actually what you should do instead of cheating. Like go figure out what's wrong with you. Because of course we can always blame our partner. Our partner's not doing this. Our partner's not doing that. Like again, if we go back to like our unhealed trauma and things like that, like you chose this partner. Okay, so what is this partner showing you as a mirror to who you are and the phase you are that needs to be healed within you, so you will make better decisions. Work on that. Don't go cheat. Okay. Um, and I was just to speak on like women cheating. Cheating didn't start because just women all of a sudden became heartless. Like women, like all of a sudden, like okay, we don't care. We're gonna turn our emotions off and we're gonna just go cheat now too. Like, hey, that's what we're doing. No, that's not it. It's just that, like again, it's an emotional thing for us. So it's a symptom of grief for whatever is happening within a relationship. And then it started to escalate because cheating creates distrust, dishonesty, and you no longer feel emotionally safe in that relationship. Okay. And that's for both partners. Anytime cheating becomes a factor of a relationship, like automatically the trust is broken, honesty goes out the window, and like neither partner feels emotionally safe in that relationship. And that's the cheating occurs from that. So that's the whole cheating back. Just that's not going to solve the problem. Again, like you're not dealing with the actual issue, which is like your emotional grief and what's causing that, and fix that. Not go cheat. Okay. And really, this whole revenge behavior, all that is pain. That's pain. It's just like, you know what? I'm hurt, but I'm not going to let them see that I'm hurt. I'm going to just, go out here and do X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't stop you from like that emotion doesn't go away. You're still hurt. But now you choose to hurt back. Yeah, this tit for tat, like it's not going to solve the problem. And one thing that tends to happen is like when people stop believing that love is safe, that their relationship is safe, then they stop protecting it. It's a free for all. Anybody can get it at that point. And that's a problem. That's a problem. But again, the issue that needed to be worked on is the emotional safety within that relationship. What happened that broke the trust, the loyalty, and fix that, not go cheat. Okay. That's all I have to say about the cheating. And the men talking about women just, cheating the most. They cheat more than the men. Okay. But now let's get into like the delusional love type of cheating. Okay, so let's talk about like this came up on one of the episodes of Smart Love. Um, One of my guests was a side chick. Okay, and the delusional love that the title of her book was like around delusional love. And so what the delusion was that, she was in a relationship with a married man. And the delusion was that he was going to eventually leave, his wife and be with her, and they were going to go off and live happily ever after. Okay. The delusion in that is number one. Okay, wait, hold on before I go. Well, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that point, PJ. But the delusion is, the fact that, okay, number one, to me, first thing I would say is, why would you want a man that's a cheater? Right? Because, like, if he's cheating on his wife with you, like, what made you so great that he wouldn't cheat on you too? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's delusion in itself, to think that this is a good man and that you want him to leave his wife and be with you. That's delusion. Um, the delusion that he actually would lead, like someone that he actually committed to, got down on a knee, proposed to, built a family with, built a life with, built a commitment with. It's easy to get into a marriage. It's hard to get out. So the delusion that he is going to throw all that away for you, that's like, that's beyond, right? Like, of course he's going to say all the things like, oh my gosh, I'm going to admit that I have dated married men, and they all had a very, very sad story of why this was such a horrible marriage and why they, had to get out. And, and all these problems happened way before me. It had nothing to do with me. But, oh, shoot, they were just being treated so terribly. And I'm just like, okay, well, why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? And they all would have like the silliest, I'm not going to say silliest, but like the simplest excuses as to why, which led me to believe that, yeah, really, you don't want to leave. Like you're not going to. And so, it was like, but again, like I was falling for the story that they were telling me that, oh, this is already, in the works. I already got the paperwork. I'm waiting on this to happen. I'm waiting on this child to graduate. I'm waiting on this. I'm waiting on that. And, I mean, I wouldn't stay around too long, but even entertaining it was too much. That was like, why did I even give them my time? I have since grown, and I don't even, you don't know, you're not getting my number. Like, we don't need to be friends, and we don't need to do business. We don't do nothing, need to do anything, because that's how they sometimes they try to act like they want to do business with me, and if the lines would get blurred. But no, the delusion of dating a married man is that he's going to actually leave. And there's also delusion that you actually want this cheating man. Like, why would you want a man that just showed you what he would do to a woman that he committed all the way through marriage with? Like, come on. Absolutely not. That's this whole cheating culture these days, where men just like, they just out here. There's a lot of men that feel like, hey, as long as I pay the bills and I take care of the household, then I should be able to do what I want to do. And then that's why they've now created this whole poly thing. Like, that's the way for them to not cheat. Y'all not even doing that right, though, because like a poly relationship is more than just, the sexual part of it. You supposed to be taking care of whole households. I don't see a lot of y'all doing that. And then to be able to take care of the the emotions of one woman, let alone two. I don't see y'all doing that. Protecting and providing security enough for one, And now being able to do it for two, I don't see you doing that because you're automatically making one feel unsafe by adding the other. So you're not doing it right either. So yeah, the cheating has to stop. The cheating has to stop. Okay, so let's move on from delusional love. What's the next lesson I want to talk to y'all about? Are y'all enjoying this conversation? Oh, let me talk on PJ. So what'd you say? You said some men cheat because a woman accused them of cheating. I think that's gay. I think that's cap. I think that's cap. Cause like I feel like men oftentimes they won't admit it until they are caught red-handed. So if you are just accusing with no evidence, oh, then okay, but then that's gonna be the excuse. Well, I cheated because you kept thinking I did. Nah, you already had cheated. Like I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. Okay, and wherever you're watching from, please go ahead and love this post, this live, and share it. Share it on your feed. Share it somewhere so we can get more folks out here to get some of this good game. Okay. Okay, and so just to kind of like bring this whole message of this delusional love and cheating home, um, what I really want to say is that just one of the biggest patterns that I've seen through my conversations from last year and the people that I've had on the show, and really from my own experiences as well, is that there's just a big pattern of um, women like choosing to be loyal in relationships that really only exist in their minds. So it's like you like my man, my man, my man in your head. And you're not his girl, his girl, his girl, his girl, his girl in real life. Okay. But we will treat him like he's our man. We won't be with nobody else. We won't date nobody else. We won't talk to nobody else. We will give him all our time, all of our energy. Especially in this, situation where he got somebody else and like you, but for the time that he is there, you're trying to be there 100%. And then like you trying to make sure he feels comfortable and don't feel like you dating somebody else when he's not around. Like, sis, that's not your man. That's not your man. And not even just men that are in other relationships, men that won't commit to you, men that are just like, oh, we just gonna see how this goes. Oh, we're just gonna see, we talking right now, we trying to get to know each other. The men that don't provide you clarity, okay, you start treating them like they're your man, and you're like, again, you're committing to them, you clear out the roster, you're not talking to anybody else, and you're creating this emotionally safe place for him, but he's not doing that for you. We're going to stop doing that in 2026, okay? We're going to stop that. It's unnecessary. It is unnecessary, okay? All right, so now let's talk about just like the culture that we live in today, right? Where I feel like it's starting to shape the narrative of what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about each other, and it's really not true, okay? I don't believe that a majority of the Black men out here are cheaters. A majority of Black men are tired of Black women. A majority of Black men don't want to, share their resources with Black women. They rather, make their money and go take it to the others because they're more submissive. I don't believe that a majority of Black women have all these high expectations that no man can meet. I don't believe that, okay? But that is the narrative, and it's loud, so it seems like that is the majority. But if you think about it, like the good men and the good women out here, they're not a part of these conversations. So really it's like the toxic people going against each other. You know what I'm saying? They battling each other. The men like, women, y'all ain't shit. And women like, well, y'all ain't shit, pay me, fuck you, pay me. And then they like, we not giving y'all our money. And then they like, well, you ain't got no money. And it's just like they going back and forth. So we're out of the conversation, right? But but what I do want us to do is to of course, like, yes, let's continue to stay out of the conversation. Like, I've tried to jump in and say, hey, no, we're not all like this, and then I get attacked. Like, well, you don't speak for all women. Well, that's rare. And being a good woman isn't rare. The women that hold men down for centuries. So I don't believe that is rare. But I do believe that, like, the culture that we live in has shaped the it's shaped how we deal with each other. It's shaped our it's shaped how it's shaped our expectations. Um, And I feel like that's what we need to work on. Okay. So we need to really take a step back. And if we start to work on ourselves and becoming the best versions of ourselves and become, people who are on a healing journey and that are looking for happy, healthy, loving relationships, that is what we will attract. But as we stay in this mix with them, and we stay in a toxicity, and we're contributing to it, that's what we're going to continue to get back. Um, Many men are like, dating fantasies, right? They are dating like, they look at what they see on the internet, the Instagram models, and they, these unrealistic um, images of women, and like that's what they're holding up to a pedestal. And so, any woman that doesn't fit that, and I'm not even just talking about how they look, I'm talking about how they act, who, the whole, um, you know, uh, men want women to pursue them these days because they feel like they're the prize. So, they think that that's what's supposed to happen. Like, I'm the prize, so you're supposed to be calling me. You're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to, and if I do take you out, like, you better be happy, type shit. Like, that's what this culture is creating. And so, what I say to the good women out there, like, don't fall victim to it. Like, stick to your standards, keep your discernment. Men are learning to play the game as well. They're learning to pretend to be the safe protector, provider, the leader. Like, they're learning to pretend to be that, to get you, to will you in. But that doesn't last very long. So again, like, you have to, like, watch his actions and not just his words, because they reading the books, they listen to the podcast, they getting the right language to use, and they using it all, they trying it out, they trying to see what's gonna work, and they understand, like, to even get the attention of a good woman, sometimes they gotta, you know, sugarcoat it a little bit, but it's just, it's up to you to have discernment and to, to watch when that mask comes off. Um, and then, nowadays media is like really normalizing emotional detachment. So it's like, it's becoming, normal just to have these casual relationships, these hookups, these, sneaky links, and, or to even make families, to have a child with this person that you don't never really want to see again in your life. To, I mean, it's like, this is becoming normal, but it's abnormal. This is like, we're all going to be like, our children's generation, or like, they're going to be dealing with trauma from everything that we're doing right now, because this is not normal. All this chaotic stuff that we're doing, and these open relationships, and these I just want to be by myself for the rest of my life. Like that's not how we were meant to be. So this is trauma within itself. We have to heal from it and work on your own healing and take yourself out of this toxic environment that we're in and just have discernment. One thing that I want to definitely, a couple points I want to leave the good women out there just to recognize when we talk about discernment and dealing with men. Um, I want you to pay attention to how men talk about women, okay? Because how he speaks about women tells you how he'll treat you, okay? And I'm going to just give a quick example. So I have a gentleman that I would say, he follows Smart Love and, joins the chat here and there. But he always has negative things to say about women. Oh, women, y'all don't bring nothing to the table that's tangible. Y'all just use the man for his resources and then take them all away. And, y'all mothers taught you how to cheat. And like he just had a lot of negative things to say about women. And even when I would say, wow, like, I'm sorry that was your experience, like, that's not me. Women always say that. Like, whenever a man's trying to, express how he feel, they always say, well, that's not me and that's not me. But women like it. And you like, but I'm like, sir, I can't pay for the sins of these other women. And like, why are you choosing these type of women? Well, I'm not talking about me, the women I've dated. Oh, so these aren't even women that you've experienced, but you are so passionate about dragging them through the mud. That shows me like how you would treat me. Like I don't feel like that man in particular uplifts Black women. I don't feel like he thinks that we're queens. I don't feel like I'm sure it has something to do with some traumas that he won't even deal with in his past relationships or even his childhood. I don't know, but he just has such a negative just negative thoughts about, and he speaks negatively about Black women. I was like, I can't even be friends with you. Like, I can't even have another conversation with you because you're not going to sit on the phone with me and tear down Black women in general. Period. Like, why would you call me to do that? Like, you go talk to your homies, go talk in the barbershop about that. But don't come to Smart Love because I'm gonna check you on it, bruh. But again, like men, like I pay attention to that. Men that just got like all these negative things to say about women. Um, yeah, like I see there's some trauma there that you need to deal with, and I'm not going to be your punching bag to get you through that. Um, what else did I want to say about that? Okay, changes that we need to make in 2026. Okay, we need to make sure that we are healing before dating. That's on both sides. That's for the men and the women. Heal before you date. Now, sometimes sometimes men will use this as a reason to like just play with you. They be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not ready for a relationship. I got some stuff to work on," even though they ain't really working on nothing. But they just gonna say that because they don't want to be in a relationship. Pay attention to that. Because either way, if he says, I got some stuff to work on, I'm not ready for a relationship, believe him and walk away. Don't get into a casual relationship with him. Don't get into a situationship. Walk away. Another lesson. Use your discernment over chemistry. Okay. Chemistry, like that's what I call like those butterflies, and you're like, oh my gosh, I like this person. Oh my gosh, I feel it. Oh my gosh, he's the best. Da, 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 da. Ignore that. Okay. I think that is important to like even get you in the door and maybe even it's definitely important, to have chemistry with a person for a relationship, but like, let's use your discernment and their actions before choosing whether or not they're compatible, right? So look at the compatibility factors, because that chemistry will get you messed up every time. I'm going to speak for me personally. Like, if I really, really, really like someone, this is something I'm working on. I will throw all of my um, boundaries, rules, everything, like even a little bit of discernment, like goes out the door a little bit. I'll be like, oh, but I like him. Oh, he's so fine. And it's like if he checks off like multiple things on my list, right? Like if he looks good on paper and he looks good to me and we have good chemistry, I might be like, letting a couple like red flags like go under the radar, or I'll be like, I would just pay attention to that. I'm gonna just check that. Let's not do that in 2026. Let's not do that. Let's not let chemistry lead us into the fire. Okay. All right. Set boundaries without guilt. Okay. I mean, it's nothing else I can say about that. Set boundaries. Don't let a man make you feel some type of way about your boundaries. If he's not willing to deal with it, okay, fine. Next. Especially the guy that you got chemistry with. Especially him. You especially need boundaries with him, because don't trust yourself. Okay. Set some boundaries. Make sure that he is who he say he is. Okay. All right. Um, Take accountability without blame. Okay. So as women, like, we have to take accountability for our actions. Like I've taken a little bit of accountability in this episode. Like I talked about, me like dealing with married men, throwing out my boundaries for somebody that I really like, that checked off boxes, um, cheating back type stuff. Like, take accountability, because only when you take accountability and you understand the areas that you need to work on and that you need to fix, will you truly heal and really become the best version of yourself. So if I was to just use myself for example, if I was just to say I never did anything wrong in any relationship, they all did it to me, and not, these bad men, then the lesson wouldn't even be for me, right? The lessons are for them. No, I want my lesson out of each of these experiences. What was it that I was supposed to learn about me? Because they're just extras in my movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm the main character. So it's about me, it's about my growth. So it starts with accountability. So I'm going to leave you with that. And just reiterating, what smart love is about. Like, we're about growth. We're about focusing on learning from our own experiences, making better decisions when it comes to love and relationships. Okay. We're not battling the men. It's not the women against the men. There's no gender wars on smart love. Okay. Everybody can have smart love, men and women. But I'm focusing on my women right now, because I feel like we are continuing to be attacked in the media. Like, we are under attack. I don't know why they are attacking good women. Like, we just sit here just trying to love. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Anyway, and I don't, when I say good women, like, that doesn't mean I'm like shaming other women and saying, other women are bad or anything like that. No, I'm talking about women who are actually on the healing journey. And I feel like maybe some of my sisters are not there yet. Do we want them to get there? Yes. Do they have to go through their own experiences and their own lessons in order to do that? Yes, we all do. We all did. I did. I had to go through my own, lessons and trials and tribulations to get here. So I'm not shaming anybody else. Absolutely not, for their journey. Just, I understand where you are. So, but until they're ready to take accountability, they're not on this healing journey with us yet. And that's fine. To everybody in due time. I'm not excusing men. I'm not excusing men's behavior. I'm not excusing men, um, again, that I feel like, tearing women down. Definitely not excusing that. I understand men. I understand that they have a lot of pain and trauma that they have not dealt with. And so there's definitely some empathy there. But I'll never excuse like anything that looks like attacking Black women, good or bad, abusing them, um, you know, just yeah, anything that tears us down. Like if anything, you should be trying to lift us up and lead us. Definitely not going to glorify dysfunction on this show. Never. I'm not going to do it just for the sake of like clicks and views and likes. No, 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 no. Because like what's for me is what's for me. So whoever needs to get this message will. Okay. God is speaking through me. I am just doing his work. So that being said, this is a little different than some of the other podcasts that you might see. And you might like it, you might not. I don't know. Share it anyway. Watch it anyway. I don't know. Battle me in the comments. Like I don't care. Get the message out there because the people that need to hear it will. Um, but just honestly, I just for 2026, I just want us to, just stop surviving. How did, how did I put it? Oh, yeah, I want us to stop surviving, but thriving in love. Okay. And even if that has to start with self love, well, it has to start with self love. So we got to get back to loving ourselves. We have to get back to appreciating all the gifts God has given us. We have to just really not let this clickbait and what media is saying about us, let that be our narrative. Like, you know who you are. You know you're a good woman. You know that you're on a healing journey. You know the things that you have to work on. You're taking accountability for them. And that's going to be your focus. So we're going to just quiet the noise and focus inward. All right. I said a whole word. Okay. Okay. So if any of you out there, if you saw yourself in any of these lessons, don't feel like you're behind. You're becoming aware. Okay. And you understand what you need to work on. And I invite you to stick with Smart Love in 2026 because it's about to be all about us. Okay. So we're all on this healing journey together, and we're going to continue on focusing on doing our work and becoming the best versions of ourselves. Okay. This is a healing space. This is a non-judgment space. This is where good women learn to choose better. And we're not losing ourselves in the process. Okay. So what I want you to do is, if you have not already, I want you to subscribe to Smart Love Inc. on YouTube. I really want to grow the community there. Yes, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, you can't really have much of a community. So yeah, I'm there. And then also on Facebook, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Smart Love. So please join the Facebook group. That's our community. That's where we're going to be sharing, just, private things just between us. That's where we're going to have our, our growth, that's where we can commune. We can have discussions. We don't have to wait for, a Smart Love um, podcast episode. We can, continue the conversations in our group. Please share. Please help me grow this community. Please help me get these positive messages out. If you want to come on the show, if you want to join the discussion, if you have some topics you want to discuss, please reach out to me. I'm going to start some new things for 2026. Ask Smart Love, where you all will be able to, kind of like the strawberry letters, Smart Love letters, something like that. I don't know what I'll call it, but you'll be able to, send in your letters, and we can, it'll be anonymous, but we can, get you some advice. We can talk, share, just like they do, on the strawberry letters, and we can, talk about that. And I have some products, some digital products coming, dating games, dating guides. There is an app coming that's going to be closer towards the end of the year, but before even the app comes, we're going to start working on linking up with like some matchmakers and, try to get some of these healed folks matched together. So stay tuned for all of this. Like 2026 is going to be the year of smart love. Like we going up, we going nothing but up, because I feel like I finally like honed in on my audience, like who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to that woman out there on that healing journey. Okay. This ain't for everybody. People that's just stuck in the toxicity, they're not smart lovers. They're not. So I'm okay if they don't watch. I'm okay if they don't support. I'm okay if they, bash me on the internet. I don't care. I care about you. I care about you because you care about you. Okay. You want to do the work. You want to heal. You want to take accountability, and you want to become the best version of you, not for the sake of getting into a relationship or finding a man. No, for you. And trust me, when you do that, he will come. He will come. All right. So make sure you go ahead and, like I said, please love this whenever and wherever you're watching this from. Please share it, and please subscribe, and please come back for the next one. It's all about that smart love. Get you some. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you never miss when we go live or drop more insightful conversations just like this. It's all about smart love. Get you some.